Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the Atlantic 10 Basketball Conference. Just a heads up, I am doing all my basketball conference tournament conference championships predictions. They're free either on Patreon or YouTube. Please watch the videos. I think on Patreon, I'm just putting the link. You follow the link, it'll take you to YouTube. And this is just so I can make money off the ads. I'm just keeping it real, being transparent. So nonetheless, when you go look at the odds for the Atlantic 10 Conference, you see it here. Dayton, been nationally ranked most of the year. They're the #1 favorite. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think they have a harder path to victory. I think those odds are absurd. And Richmond's the #1 team in the conference. When you look at conference standings, Richmond has a marquee player that I believe in King, but plus 600 is great odds for Richmond, especially since they don't have to play Dayton or Loyola Chicago to get to the championship of the tournament. They have an easier path. They just have to beat UMass, something they didn't do in the regular season, but it can happen, right? So let's go look at it. Let's talk about it. So in this conference, Richmond Spiders 15-3, Loyola Chicago 15-3. The reason I don't believe in Loyola Chicago, if I can break them down for you guys, when you look at them, they're forget the conference record. Look at them outside of conference, losing to American teams. Now, yes, it looked like a top 10 matchup. We now know that's not true, but they still lost to an American team, losing to Creighton, no, nothing to be mad about, but losing to another American team in Tulsa in South Florida. They're losing to quality teams that I believe in the American, and they're just beating regular ass teams. This is just the way it goes. And then they go Loyola Chicago. They lose to Richmond, close game. They beat UMass, close game. But the rest of the way, it's just kind of this team. I'm so impressed with the Dayton win. Why is Dayton ranked in the top 25? Why? I'm watching them lose to a conference that seems a rung lower than the American and in these mid-major thing going, right? But the reason everybody believes in Dayton is because DaRon Holmes II. This is a big man, been at Dayton for 3 years now. Always a bucket, always scoring, dominating the paint, but something's different, right? He can be matched up and guarded a different way. And the teams who have big men tend to stop him from scoring to the extent that he has. Now, when he has mismatch nightmares, right? When he has 3-guard sets and then you look up, you see 2 forwards, 3 guards, they can't handle this big man in the paint. Yeah, it says he's a forward, but he's 6'11", right? He's a problem. I get it, leading scorer in the conference. But for me, just because you have DaRon Holmes doesn't mean you're the best team out there. Now let's talk about it. In this conference, I looked at these odds. I see plus 600, plus 700, and then that plus 170. These are glaring to me for 2 teams that currently sit first and second in conference standings. Easier path to the game, right? So you go look at the tournament, you go look it up, and you see that Richmond is playing the Game 4 winner. So who is Richmond playing? Game 4 winner is going to be George Mason and St. Joe's. That's an easy win for them. Let's go to the next game. They're going to be playing the winner of UMass and the Game 5 winner. It's probably going to be UMass. So that's a difficult matchup for Richmond and UMass. Let's hope they find a way to win. Last time they played, I believe King had a bad game. I don't know where the box score is. Here we go. King had a bad game, and King's your leading scorer. King should be putting up somewhere around 20 points. He went 1 for 6 on the 3-point line. I don't foresee that happening again. I also don't see Quinn being held to 4 points. This is a 7-foot center. I just think they get it done. They find a way to win this time around. And if you ever want to see a terrible 3-point shooting team, go look at the UMass Minutemen. Yes, they're a good basketball team. They can't make threes to save their life. Don't you forget it. I don't believe in a team that can't shoot threes, so I'm not on that bandwagon of thinking UMass is going to beat Richmond in the semis. On the flip side, you have to try to beat Loyola Chicago if you're Dayton. So Dayton's going to have to beat Loyola Chicago to even get to the championship. I find that to be a hard path. A much harder path than UMass and Richmond. So I don't like it. You can believe in Dayton if you want, and you can go there, and then we have the championship. So for me, when I look at Dayton Flyers, they've been nationally ranked and respected because of their big man, because of what they did here in this run they did early on in the season. But when they got in conference play, they've lost 4 games in conference play, losing to Richmond by 5, losing on the road at VCU. Now, let me be very clear. Dayton is undefeated at home. Don't ignore it. They're undefeated at home. This is not going to be a Dayton, right? They're losing to Loyola Chicago on the road, though. It's just not good. I don't like the way they look right now. I don't believe in it, personally. You can, but those odds just sound terrible, the plus 100. I'm not sold on it. Loyola Chicago, like I said, I'm not sold on them. They lost to American teams. I don't even see them winning this conference. Richmond, bro. Richmond's so nice. Yes, they just lost to George Mason by 20. Rico, what are you talking about? They just lost to George Mason by 20. Yeah. They had the #1 seed. snatched up, locked in, didn't need this win, didn't matter. It's just like losing in week 16 or 17 or 18, whatever it is now, of the NFL regular season. You know you're going to the playoffs. It's no big deal. But with all the marbles on the line, when it really matters, this team found ways to win. Yes, they have losses to Florida, Northern Iowa, UNI, Wichita State, Colorado, Boston College. Cool. Don't care about none of that. I'm telling you, I like the way King plays. King is a bucket, a walking bucket, if you will. Jordan King, second leading scorer in the conference, was at East Tennessee State last year, played really well. Just his whole career, everywhere he goes, Jordan King can play. And if you look down here, you see this field goal percentage. Where's 3-point? 3-point percentage, 42%. 42% in threes. There's no other leading scorer shooting 3-point percentages like him. And the one time they lost against UMass, I told you, he went 1 for 6. That's not going to happen again. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the conference, if not the best. And he's just, like I said, a New York kid, a walking bucket. I believe in Jordan King carrying his team to victory, getting to the big dance. Let's go. You're from Arizona. You're bound to be a bust, bro. You're bound not to make it happen when it matters most. I like Jordan King in this instance. I like the 6-footer going out and carrying his team to victory. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Good luck, y'all. I'm going to try to break down every tournament today. Hopefully you guys see the videos. Go.